Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to witness the insertion of Franken buns in holy matrimony. It is my honor to lead this unification ceremony of the new power couple at the worldwide leader in woke. Do you, Jay Williams, take Jay Rose to be your lawful wedded husband, to have and to definitely hold, in sickness and in health, traversing the path of mythical racism together, as long as you both shall collect woke welfare from ESPN? I do. Oh, yes, I do. Do you, Reverend Jalen Rose, take Jay Williams to be your lawful wedded wife, to bend over and spank, to pleasure the wank, to master the bait and impregnate? Oh, I do, especially the last part. I love pregnant men. By the power invested in me by the deacons here at Woke United Methodist, I now pronounce you wanker and spanker. You may grab the frank. Oh, we have a new power couple at the worldwide leader in woke. Either that or Private Jay Williams attended the Joe Biden School of Journalism. If that's the case, Reverend Jalen Rose, he should immediately file a claim of plagiarism. Because what I saw on Woke Take this morning, Jay Williams either learned this through pillow talk with Jalen Rose or he completely ripped off one of his sermons. Last summer, Reverend Jalen Rose, he delivered an impassioned sermon. There was an important issue weighing heavy on his heart. For decades, we have used the metaphor of Mount Rushmore as a description of greatness. Only the elite of the elite are included in any discussion of Mount Rushmore. Now, these debates, they're entirely subjective, but most people can always agree on one or maybe two names. For example, I don't think anyone would disagree that Tom Brady's on the Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks or NFL players in general. Michael Jordan for the NBA, Wayne Gretzky in the NHL. When you're included in a discussion of Mount Rushmore, the debate is always positive. There's nothing negative about it. People are discussing your greatness. But just like they do with everything else, deacons at Woke United Methodist, they had to take something positive and try to turn it into a negative. According to Reverend Jalen Rose, we must stop referencing Mount Rushmore because it's racist. Last summer, while he was still grieving his divorce from Molly Karam, which, by the way, my inside sources, they gave me a possible reason for the dissolution of their nuptials. Apparently, Molly Karam had this unusual standard. She wanted to be married and spend the rest of her life with an actual man. After spending more and more time with Jalen Rose, Molly Karam came to the conclusion the Rose did not qualify. While in the depths of his grief, Reverend Jalen Rose got behind the pulpit and issued an addendum to the woke commandments. From that day forward, birthing persons were no longer allowed to use Mount Rushmore as a metaphor. Watch for yourself.
Can we retire using Mount Rushmore? That should be offensive to all of us, especially Native Americans, the indigenous people, who were the first people here before Christopher Columbus. That land was stolen from them when it was discovered that it contained gold. And 25 years later, to add insult to injury, 4 American presidents were put on what we call Mount Rushmore, on the top of the dead bodies that is buried right underneath. So I call for you and for myself, I'm owning this too. Let's stop using the term Mount Rushmore.
You heard our fearless leader say it. No more Mount Rushmore. Violators of this commandment will face extreme punishment. I, Jalen Rose, will personally stick my thorn in their caboose. Now, this is one of the rare instances where a woke commandment was made very clear. There was nothing vague about it. Most of the time, it is impossible to follow the woke commandments. You could be in violation and not even know it. Take the second commandment, thou shalt not commit mythical misogyny. It sounds clear, it sounds easy to understand, but what qualifies as mythical misogyny? It changes by the day. Stephen A. Smith tells Molly Karam she looks nice. Misogyny. KC says Mina Kimes is unqualified to be an NFL analyst. Misogyny. Talbert Swan calls Laura Ingraham the devil. Reparations. You see? You just never know. But this addendum given by Reverend Rose, it was very, very simple to understand. Do not say Mount Rushmore under any circumstances. For almost a year now, the shitfucks collecting woke welfare from ESPN, they have followed this directive. When they are having discussions on ESPN, they no longer reference Mount Rushmore. Tom Brady is on the Mount Kilimanjaro of NFL quarterbacks. LeBron James is on Mount Kenya of NBA players. It's all about the equity. It's all about making things fair and balanced. You see, Mount Rushmore is very triggering to the victims who survived the layoffs at ESPN. When you have rules, when you have laws like this, there's always that one person who thinks they're above the law. There's that one male birthing person who thinks the rules don't apply to them. The birthing person who found themselves on the wrong side of the woke law this morning was none other than Stephen A. Smith. Matter of fact, Stephen A. was not the only criminal here. Whichever non-binary producer is responsible for the layover graphics, they are also guilty of this crime. This morning on Woke Take, they were debating whether or not Steph Curry has replaced LeBron James on the NBA's Mount Rushmore. Simple answer to the question, yes. I could sit here and spend the next 20 minutes laying out the case as to why Steph Curry has been more impactful than LeBron James. But my brother Stephen A., he also agreed with me. As he was laying out his argument, he uttered the phrase Mount Rushmore. This sent grade A shitfuck Jay Williams into immediate convulsions. He started shaking. The woke boner he'd had for 30 minutes immediately became flaccid. You could see the steam of anger boiling off his bald head. He took it upon himself to call attention to Stephen A. Smith's transgressions. Watch for yourself.
Can we first off just stop with the Mount Rushmore talk? They're not even the 4 best presidents this country has ever had. Everyone in this room was not even able to vote. I just want to say that off the top. That's our metric for success. That's our king. I'll leave that conversation for another day.
We just use it as a metaphor.
I got it. I just had to.
I'm with you.
I had to say it.
I'm with you.
First of all, not only do I think it's disrespectful, it is a slap in the face for Jay Williams to claim the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore aren't the 4 greatest presidents. Now, I understand this is entirely subjective. It's open to opinion and everyone has their own, but I would be willing to bet Jay Williams can't name the 4 presidents who are on Mount Rushmore. I would be willing to bet Jay Williams, he doesn't even know where Mount Rushmore is. One of the presidents on Mount Rushmore is Abraham Lincoln. You know, Honest Abe. I can't imagine why Jay Williams would think he was a good president. He didn't accomplish too much while he was in office, except, you know, freeing the slaves. Another president on Mount Rushmore, George Washington. You know, George Washington. One of the founders of this country, one of the brilliant minds who was responsible for building the greatest country in the history of the world. The guy responsible for giving people like Jay Williams the freedom to express their minds no matter how wrong they are. Instead of Brian Windhorst sitting there smiling like he was just served a Brian Stelter special, the glazed wiener, he should have pressed Jay Williams on this stupidity. Hey, Jay. Who's on Mount Rushmore? You know, the great Americans like Adolf and Vlad and Benito. And then that kid from Cuba, he floated over on that tire back in the late 90s. I think his name was Elian Goodyear. And what the hell was Stephen A. Smith doing? I swear to God, I wish Jay Williams would have done this to me on this channel. Instead of Stephen A. standing up for himself, instead of Stephen A. telling Jay Williams, you're on my show, to discuss basketball. You're not here to chastise me because your soft ass was triggered over a metaphor. Instead of Stephen A. Smith being a man, what does he do? On his own show, he folds to the pressure, bends over, and begs for punishment. I wish Jay Williams would come on this platform and try to pull some bullshit like that. You want to lecture me on the use of Mount Rushmore? In the middle of a discussion about great NBA players, you want to pull the mythical racism card? Is it any wonder why fewer and fewer people are watching ESPN? Is it any wonder why First Take is rated 2 out of 5 stars on IMDb? First Take is universally praised by the mainstream media, but when it comes to normal people, we think this show absolutely sucks. When Stephen A. Smith leaves ESPN, and notice I said when, not if, my stance has not changed. Stephen A. Smith, he recently set himself up here on YouTube. He is creating revenue streams outside of the worldwide leader in woke. I am telling you, like I told you for the last, 2 years now, Stephen A. Smith is on his way out. When he does leave, this is what ESPN will be left with. Jay Williams, Jalen Rose, Kendrick Perkins, Dominique Foxworth, Bomani Jones, Mina Kimes. That list of names right there, those are the names ESPN should be laying off. While we're at it, might as well include Sarah Spain, Malika Andrews, Elle Duncan. Hell, the entire network needs to be cleared out. Use these layoffs to eradicate the woke fungus and hire people who will actually talk about sports and be entertaining at the same time. ESPN is an absolute embarrassment. If I'm Jay Williams, I would be humiliated. If I'm Stephen A. Smith, I would be humiliated for allowing Jay Williams to embarrass me on my own show. Jay Williams, this dude, he went on national television and complained about Mount Rushmore. Not only that, he is so entitled, he is so comfortable with his role as private in the woke army, he went on someone else's show and lectured them. Stephen A. Smith should have thrown his ass off the air. You're going to come on my show and not only disrespect the founders of this country, but disrespect me? Just, I don't know. Give me your thoughts. Jay Williams lectures Stephen A. Smith on his own platform. The content on ESPN, this content has gotten so bad, they're now actively debating the use of Mount Rushmore. This network sucks. I swear to God, ESPN is nothing but trash. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.